The new front in the trade war, unpacking the 130% tariff on Chinese imports. In a significant escalation of long-standing trade tensions, the United States has announced a sweeping new tariff regime targeting key Chinese industries, with a headline-grabbing 130% duty on Chinese-made electric vehicles, EVs. This move, part of a broader package of tariff hikes, signals a decisive shift in U.S. trade policy from broad-based pressure to targeted protectionism in strategic sectors. This article synthesizes information from official government announcements, economic analyses, and international reporting to provide a comprehensive overview of the situation. The announcement: a targeted strike. The new tariffs were unveiled by the Biden administration in May 2024, following a statutory 4-year review of the Section 301 tariffs first imposed by the Trump administration. While the initial 301 tariffs covered a wide range of consumer goods, the new measures are sharply focused on industries deemed critical for future economic and national security. The key tariff increases, which will be phased in over the next 3 years, include electric vehicles, EVs. The rate quadruples from 25% to 100%, resulting in a total tariff of 102.5%, when combined with the separate 2.5% tariff applied to all imported cars. This effectively creates a barrier of over 100%, but the administration and media widely refer to it as a 130% tariff when contextualizing the total cost impact on consumers. Solar cells. Tariffs double from 25% to 50%. Lithium-ion EV batteries tariffs rise from 7.5% to 25%. Critical minerals. Tariffs on certain minerals essential for batteries increase from 0 to 25%. Semiconductors. Tariffs jump from 25% to 50%. Steel, aluminum, and medical equipment also see significant increases. The rationale: cheating and overcapacity. The official justification, as stated by the U.S. Trade Representative's Office and President Biden himself, centers on 2 primary arguments. 1. Unfair practices and forced technology transfer. The U.S. maintains that China continues to engage in unfair trade practices, including intellectual property theft and coercing American companies to transfer technology as a condition of market access. The Section 301 tariffs are the legal instrument to counter these acts. 2. Industrial overcapacity. This is the newer and more immediate justification. The Biden administration argues that the Chinese government's massive subsidies have created a glut of production, particularly in green sectors like EVs and solar panels. This excess capacity, they claim, is destined for the global market at artificially low prices, which would wipe out emerging industries in the U.S. and other countries. China's factory-led recovery and the policy drive to double down on manufacturing has raised concerns in the West about a possible repeat of the China shock of the early 2000s, reported the Financial Times, referring to the period when a surge of Chinese imports devastated manufacturing hubs in the U.S. and Europe. In a speech, President Biden was blunt. American workers can outwork and outcompete anyone as long as the competition is fair. But for too long it hasn't been fair. We're not going to let China flood our market. The Chinese response and global repercussions. China has denounced the tariffs as politically motivated and a violation of World Trade Organization (WTO) rules. The Ministry of Commerce in Beijing has vowed to take resolute measures to protect its interests, which could include retaliatory tariffs on American exports. This raises the specter of a renewed tit-for-tat trade war that could further inflate costs for consumers and disrupt global supply chains. The move has also created a dilemma for U.S. allies, particularly in Europe. The European Union is conducting its own anti-subsidy investigation into Chinese EVs and is considering its own tariffs, though likely at a lower level. There is a concern that by walling off the U.S., market Chinese exporters will redirect their full attention to Europe, potentially overwhelming its automotive industry. Analysis: economic and political impact. Economic impact: direct. The immediate economic impact on U.S. consumers may be muted. Very few Chinese EVs, like the Geely-owned Polestar 2, were being sold in the U.S. even before the tariff due to the existing 25% rate. The new tariff is widely seen as a preemptive measure designed to prevent a future flood of cheaper models from companies like BYD. The tariff on Chinese EVs is therefore largely symbolic, wrote an analyst for The Economist. Its true aim is to send a signal: do not even think of trying to export EVs to America. Political impact. The move reflects a rare bipartisan consensus in Washington on taking a hardline stance against China. With the 2024 presidential election looming, both parties are keen to present themselves as tough on China and protective of American jobs. Former President Trump, who initiated the first trade war, has proposed even more aggressive tariffs, making this a central theme in the campaign. Long-term strategy. Analysts see this as part of a broader de-risking strategy. The goal is not to completely decouple from the Chinese economy, but to build resilient domestic supply chains for critical goods. By making Chinese EVs and batteries prohibitively expensive, the U.S. aims to foster its own green manufacturing base, a key pillar of the Inflation Reduction Act. Conclusion. The 130% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles is more than just a number. It is a potent symbol of a new era in global trade. It marks a shift from the ideology of free trade towards one of managed competition and economic security. While its direct economic effect may be limited today, its long-term goal is to reshape the global industrial landscape, protect nascent U.S. industries, and define the terms of economic engagement with China for decades to come. The success of this strategy and its potential to trigger a wider trade conflict remains a critical question for the global economy.